So this last week, for the first time ever, I had one of my videos demonetized by YouTube for being too controversial. Apparently, saying that 50 Shades of Grey sucks and is bad for society is a bit too on the edge for YouTube and their advertisers, and they took the money away on that video. So now I'm feeling empowered to say whatever I want and keep being controversial. So here we go. So today I wanted to talk about overly political but conveniently safe movie reviews. To give you the background on where I'm coming from, I checked out the reviews for The Magnificent Seven earlier today, and it was right exactly where I thought it was going to be. It's right kind of low, mid-60s. It looks like a popcorn fun movie. Fun, but not great. Type of movie I'll really enjoy. I'll probably watch it a lot, but it's not great filmmaking, so that's exactly where I was kind of expecting. And really probably the review that summarized what I was hoping this movie would be was Chris Stuckman. He's one of the guys that does what I do except is successful at it. And this is what he had to say about the movie. Strong direction from the always versatile Antoine Fuqua and game performances from the entire cast make The Magnificent Seven a total blast from start to finish. That's pretty much exactly what I was expecting from this movie. Fun, enjoyable cast, competently directed by Antoine Fuqua. It's not great, it's not deep, he's not talking about the great character moments. It's just a fun time at the movies, and if you like this type of fun, you'll like it, and if you don't like this type of fun, then you should probably skip this movie. That's what I expected. Very vanilla, very safe, very much cheap Hollywood entertainment. But then I look at the other reviews there to see what other people are kind of saying, and there's an actual recurring theme of overly political summaries of the movie. So for example, Time Out says this: a vehicle for wall-to-wall action in an unambiguously fond farewell to the Obama years. Okay. This one from IndieWire: a fun and surprisingly fresh Western that takes aim at Donald Trump's America. What? I read that, I just don't know how to respond. I'm pretty sure the author gets to pick the quote. That's what it says. That's something that's in their review that they picked to summarize their thoughts on The Magnificent Seven. So I thought to myself, if this is how politically charged they're getting for The Magnificent Seven, I just wonder how crazy they're going to get when it comes to reviewing Snowden, an actually political movie. So let's see what they had to say. There was always the chance of Snowden's story coming off as an underpowered Bourne movie, but Stone somehow finds ways to make it extra boring. Wait, let me get this straight. The Magnificent Seven gets statements about the Obama years in the summary, but Snowden, a movie about actual real-life events that happened during the Obama years, gets references to the Bourne movies? What? So I decided to look into the actual reviews and see what you kind of find inside of them. And the reviewer I just looked at, his is just kind of a pretty tame review for each of these movies. The guy from IndieWire kind of doubles down on this whole political comparison. This is the way he describes The Magnificent Seven. The basic structure of the story hasn't changed a bit. The year is 1879, and the frontier mining town of Rose Creek is being bled dry by a mustache-twirling robber named Bogue. This is where it gets ridiculous. Bogue is a sociopath, but most of all, he is a capitalist. Rose Creek is essentially to his business, in which residents refuse to clear out. He sees them as standing in the way of God, so he does what any decent corporate raider would do. He guns down a few of them, the strongest men in town, and gives the helpless locals 3 weeks to abandon the town they built with their own hands. Let's repeat that. Capitalist first, sociopath second. The reason that he gunned down people in the streets and was greedy was second, because he's a sociopath. First, because he's a capitalist. The review continues, just kidding, this is America where systemic injustice and business-related bullying are never permitted without a fight, at least in the movies. Let's remember, we are reading a review of a movie from the director of Olympus Has Fallen, of Shooter, of The Equalizer. This is not a political statement about capitalism. Though this review is. Let's read a bit more. America's disenfranchised are joining together to save the country from itself, fighting to defend a place they've been made to feel doesn't belong to them. Donald Trump better hope this movie doesn't catch on. Really? That was your takeaway from this movie? That it's a statement about the United States banding together to stop Donald Trump. See, it's easy to make political statements about The Magnificent Seven because it's a movie that's not really all that deep and doesn't actually have all of this political allegory. It's a movie from a director that's been making old school action movies since they weren't old school, but since they were just called action movies back in the 90s. And this movie's not a statement about Obama's diverse America. It's not a statement about taking arms up against Trump and his America. It's just an action movie that's fun and empty. See, this movie's been in the works since long before Donald Trump announced he was running for president. See, they started filming it in August of last year, which means they started writing it even before that, which means they started talking about remaking it well before that. And if you were trying to make a political allegory movie that was trying to prepare for the 2016 thing when Donald Trump may or may not be running for president, remaking The Magnificent Seven is a weird way to do that. This is what I refer to as a Taco Bell movie. I eat Taco Bell all the time. It's not good. They use cheap gimmicks like a Dorito shell to get me to buy their food, and I fall for it every single time. My tacos are frequently soggy. See, this is food that has been lab tested and focus group approved to appeal to the widest audience that I buy all the time and enjoy, even though it's terrible. That's what Jurassic World was. It's Taco Bell. It's something that's easy to enjoy, easy to consume. It's not deep. It doesn't have a lot of value to it. It'll probably make you a little bit sick on the inside. But people like me consume it all the time. That's why it made a ton of money. The Magnificent Seven is a Taco Bell movie. It's all the ingredients that are easy to consume. I'm sure I'm going to watch this movie in a whole lot. But it's not good. It's not great. It's not deep. It's not great artistic filmmaking. It's a product produced to entertain me, to fill my entertainment quota for an afternoon or an evening. And I'm sure that's what it's going to do. I like my Taco Bell after church on Sundays. I'm sure I will enjoy watching Magnificent Seven on many Sunday afternoons after church. Taco Bell does not endorse candidates, and neither does the movie The Magnificent Seven. Suggesting that this movie is taking aim at Trump's America might have got me to click a link, might have got me to make this video, but it hasn't caused us to have a difficult and important conversation, which is something that actually matters. Now, I'm not interested in defending The Magnificent Seven or Snowden, but what I am interested in doing is making sure we're talking about the right things the right way. Because Snowden, I don't know if it's a good movie or not, but it's about something that actually happened, that's actually important, that we actually need to be talking about. The human Snowden discovered that the US government was spying on its own people, doing something that is both immoral and illegal. In response, he did something that was illegal to spread that information and potentially put people at harm in doing so. That's an actual ethical dilemma. There was something that needed to be exposed, and he did something illegal to expose it. He did something that might have put people in jeopardy by doing it, but it needed to be exposed because what was happening was very wrong. That's a hard discussion to have because there's no clear right and wrong side. The government was wrong and he did something wrong in exposing it. But it's good that he exposed it because the people needed to know it was going on. That's an actual discussion. That's a hard discussion to have. And taking a stand on Snowden can actually cost you something because politicians don't really want to touch it too much. Obama doesn't want to talk about it. Trump doesn't want to talk about it. Clinton doesn't want to talk about it because it's taking sides on something that there's no easy answer. And politics is all about easy, quick answers that appeal to ideologies. A situation where the government is spying in order to keep the people safe, but they're overreaching, is very complex and difficult to analyze. As well as a guy that does something illegal that can put people in jeopardy to stop them from doing something they shouldn't be doing. That's a hard discussion that not even politicians want to touch. So, making a review of Snowden political and bringing up actual politicians is taking a stand on something that's real and actual, as opposed to suggesting that the villain in The Magnificent Seven is a Trump-like character who is capitalist before he's a sociopath and that's why he kills people. That's silliness. That's not taking a real stand. That's not making a political statement. That's just saying your ideology and making it clear where you're coming from because you're letting it shine through in all the ways that don't matter. The reason you don't see the names Clinton, Obama, Trump popping up in Snowden reviews is because that's an actual political statement, an actual political criticism where you have to stick your neck out there, take aim at someone, not just a cheap shot. I don't know anything about these guys I've been talking about. Maybe they're great guys with incredible political intelligence and they write amazing pieces about film with politics and it's beautiful. I don't know. But from where I'm looking right now, I don't get the impression that the Magnificent Seven has these incredibly deep political contexts and underpinnings and it's all an allegory about Trump and diversity I don't get that vibe. And so when I see a review about the Magnificent Seven injecting politics into it, it just comes off like grandstanding. It's a really weird place to do some political grandstanding. And if you want to do some political grandstanding while talking about movies, why don't you do it while talking about Snowden? A movie about something real, that really matters, that we need to be having a good conversation about, because it affects each and every one of us. If you don't like this video, please click that dislike button and leave a comment. I don't want you to just disagree with me and be silent. We need to be talking about this. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong and let's talk about it. Don't just click the dislike button. Someone did that on my video on 50 Shades and rape culture, and that really bothered me because if I'm wrong about 50 Shades and rape culture, tell me why. We need to talk about this. Nobody wins when we stop listening and we stop sharing opinions. If you like this video, please click that subscribe button. I like to talk. I want to talk with you about movies. Please join me in the comment section. Thank you for watching.